Well, there's some news I want to get into first, right? This is from our friend Joe Cali, and it is something that I think a lot of us are a little upset, right, from the Sun-Times. Executive Vice President Arturas Karnisovas started talking with Donovan about a contract extension after the season ended. This is from the headline, Bulls locking down front office and coach Billy Donovan with extensions. According to a source, those talks have heated up, signaling that Karnisovas and GM Mark Eversley have already been extended. Karnisovas has been actively pursuing roster changes this summer, but key personnel in the Bulls front office, including him, need not worry about job security. According to a source Wednesday, the Bulls were closing to finalizing a contract extension for coach Billy Donovan and have been in discussion since the regular season ended. So what's the holdup? The source speculated that it was always going to happen, but Karnisovas and general manager Mark Eversley needed to get their own extensions first, and that has happened. The belief is that Karnisovas' deal had been done for quite some time, not that he sounded worried about it in April. Quote, we have a very good relationship with Jerry and Michael Reinsdorf, Karnisovas said when discussing his job security. Quote, we take pride, especially in this building, in everybody being on the same page. It was very hard to accomplish, but that's how it is in the building between the ownership, front office, coaching staff, performance staff, so that they have always been very supportive of my decisions, my thoughts about this direction. And you can read the rest of the article by Joe Cali. The Bulls locking down front office and coach Billy Donovan with extensions. So we can talk about the NBA draft, Marver. I know you and Paulie have seen some names that might be the pick, but I just have one question. I think Billy Donovan is a good NBA coach. I think he was a great college coach. I think he's a good NBA coach. What argument, what case can Michael and Jerry make to not only secretively, but to do it with glee, to do it with haste, to sign Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley? You know, there's a lot of players in the NBA that have played for this organization. Let's see if they got the value. Oh, there's a player that's like really impactful in the NBA Finals right now. His name is Alex Caruso. Did Mark Eversley or Arturas Karnisovas do anything to benefit the Chicago Bulls by having that asset and trading him? No, they held on to him in hopes of doing what they did this season and going and playing games instead of capitalizing on what you're supposed to do in the NBA. What did the Magic give up for Bane? Oh, like 6 first-round picks, right? Is this front office given any belief that they're creative, that they have any intuition, that they know how to scout, that they know how to play the game, that they know how to be able to con another team? They're the team that gets con. Marver, what do you think is going on? What are your thoughts about hearing this and going right into the NBA draft?
Well, at first, I thought it had something to do with the Thibodeau firing because Donovan's from Long Island, but that's apparently not the case. He had 1 year left in his contract, I believe, so they're interested in keeping him. So that makes sense if that's what it's all about. I mean, I don't think that management has done an outstanding job of building this team to win, and so the belief about Karnisovas' deal has been done for quite some time, and he sounded worried about it in April. But again, the results are playing. So so they're kind of like stuck in that mode. But hopefully, as we get to it in a moment, this draft will change things.
And let's. I think that's a great place because if you're talking about draft stuff, this front office has been bad about that too. Patrick Williams and Dalen Terry. It wasn't until Matas Buzelis, who is better than I think they were able to scout, which you got to give them some credit for that, but they have missed more than they have not in this NBA draft. And Paulie, what do you think about the extension? And more importantly, do you trust this team to do any type of good scouting and some type of smart maneuvering in the NBA draft?
I don't like, I thought they should move on from Billy Donovan, but I get that, good coaching is kind of at a premium in the NBA, so I can understand why they kept him. I guess the argument is, should he have had this squad at 500 or better in the time that he's been here, because he hasn't gotten to 500 or better, and he 48% of his games that he's coached for the Bulls, he's won. Not a great record, but at the same time, if that's what they're building off of, fine. But it's been a stagnant roster, and it's been the play-in game every single year, and it's a major market where they should be able to produce stars. They should be able to attract stars, and they should be able to have a competitive team every single year. And just looking at their roster, yeah, they got to move on from Vucevic, but I don't know how they're going to be able to do it, and I don't know how they're going to get creative to try and bring in some big talent. And they're going to have to get creative with their scouting. And I'm seeing, with the teams that you're seeing around the league right now, the superstars, but the supporting cast is really what it's all about. And I think what I've seen with the Bulls is it's not so much a supporting cast. It's like maybe one or two guys that can lead the team, and the rest will kind of sort themselves out, but it doesn't always translate to wins. And, and maybe a dependence on certain aspects that they're not always getting from game to game, like Kobe White scoring or Lonzo Ball's defense, or even Vucevic being the facilitator at the age he is, or maybe some of the guys off the bench like Dunsumu maybe being a sixth man if they can get that out of him. So yeah, this roster needs a lot. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it to solve it in the draft. I printed out a list of the top big men in the whole thing. And of course, the center from Duke, Kaman Maluak, if he could be, if he even makes it to them, he's supposed to go 6th overall. If he even drops down to them, but if not, Derek Queen? Yeah, he could be, someone that the Bulls could realistically get. But it all depends on what are the quality of the big men in this draft, and do they go for need or do they go with talent? But I think they need to go with need on this one, because I don't know how they're going to address it in free agency and who's even available and how they can even fit that with Vucevic's contract and everything else that they got to squeeze in. So they need to nail it on this draft, and no matter what, they need to nail it on this draft. It needs to be somebody 4 years from now is contributing many minutes on a given night for this team, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
And do you trust them to do it at pick number 12? That is the ultimate question. Do you trust them to either scout well enough to do it or to be creative enough to trade to get a higher, better pick? And I think with the Vooch and Lonzo thing, they will be part of a 3-team deal if the Bulls are the 3rd team in that deal. Marver, any final thoughts as we move on? I mean, it is a jam-packed edition of the show as I've been talking NBA Finals, NBA Draft, and a team on the West Side.
Yeah, as we try to unload Vuk, I was thinking Derek Queen. He was the freshman of the year in the Big Ten, and he's offensive skills, interior scoring ability, high basketball IQ. I mean, he was a freshman. I mean, for example, Malawik is 18 years old. We're talking about some really young kids that are going to be coming into the league. But I think Queen's pretty good. And the Harper, I mean, it's good bloodlines. I don't know where Ron Harper went to college, but he was a pretty good player.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Paulie, any final thoughts, buddy?
Oh, no, I want to see the Bulls move in the right direction. I'm just getting sick of the stagnation from year to year.
Isn't it interesting, and we'll end it on this, that you see what's happening for the Bears, you see what's happening with the White Sox, the Blackhawks, the Cubs, all different directions of success, but there is movement on each team that you could kind of see, all right, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. This is the only team in the city, and unfortunately I know White Sox fans have felt this too often, that has continuously done the same mistake, has continually stepped on their own feet, tripped over their own feet, and then asked for thanks and for adulation whenever they healed their own wounds. It is time for this organization to do what the Knicks did, to do what the Lakers do, to be a legitimate contender in the league that loves Chicago being good. So we'll see if it ends up paying off.
Well, if you look at the finals, I mean, the benches, like Caruso, Mercado, I mean, are major contributors, and so we don't go very deep at all in Chicago.
And some of those players played here, and they didn't get any value from that.